Tony here for Project Grow. It is Thursday, March 12th, 2015. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you guys for being patient. We actually skipped last week specifically so I could attend the Permaculture Voices 2 conference in San Diego with some of my good people, one of which we are here with today is Kevin Powell. He is an independent farmer from Shingle Springs, Humblebee Hill Farms, which is about 40 minutes east of Sacramento. And which is very cool is not only what we touched base on in the previous video about your purchase value, what you're actually doing on a bioavailable, sustainable, and even organic living. We actually got to bring in the intimate source, the interconnection of some of the foods that I got to eat from his farms, which was super awesome. And I think what we're tailoring a little bit more on this episode, specifically this week, not only just the purchase value, but also the connection about knowing your producer, like being able to sit down either on a farmer's market or knowing certain things between just the connection that you have with where your food's coming from. So what we wanted to do in this little small segment is I wanted to just kind of have Kevin just give a little bit of details of what he's doing on his farm, specifically not only just on the permaculture design basis of what he's trying to do, but also just the fun that he gets to have, having that intimate connection not only with nature, but also the food and being that supporter and that producer for people. So I'm going to leave it over to Kevin. First off, what I wanted to ask you specifically is more of an economic reform level. What is the details and what is your passion behind your farm?
Well, the passion behind my farm is basically I'm doing what I'm doing because we're seeing land degrade at such a fast rate across the country, and right alongside of it, you're seeing everybody's health degrade right alongside it. And basically the goal of biological farming, ecological farming is basically to restore the land while in turn producing a high quality product that's more nutritious and restores the environment instead of degrading it in the production of it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's deep. That's deep. Not only that, what are you doing on your farm? Do you have animals? You have what are you cultivating? What are you harvesting? We've
got a bunch of animals, and so we're farming. We're on 5 acres. We're cultivating about 1.5 acres of mixed vegetables, just seasonal, so just year round, but seasonal vegetables. We also have our orchards going in. We've had some orchard in for about 5 years now. And just this spring we're putting in about another 50 trees, so that's expanding our orchard a bit. And then we've also, we've been doing laying hens, and we've got over 100 chickens running around, and we've got 13 pigs currently. That's always fluctuating a bit. And then we're also raising ducks right now too. And the animals are a lot of fun, but those are our main enterprises currently.
Yeah, you were also telling me a little bit more about your herd share, which is really interesting, that I kind of wanted to touch base on, so you can kind of give that an open-ended response, just to kind of give the public an idea of what that actually means, because we were eating like kings while we were in San Diego, and it was awesome, but most of everything was coming from you. You were bringing pretty much everything from your farm basis, but also touch base on a little bit on what that entails, what a herd share is, so people out in the public get an idea of where they can get the best sources of milk and dairy in general.
Right. So the herd share basically currently it's the gray area in the law because they make it so difficult for a dairy to function, especially in California, but to legally function a dairy, it's very cost prohibitive. And so the herd share style of running it is basically where everybody is paying you have somebody who's basically the room and board for the cow, and so they take care of the cow. They feed it every day. They have the space for it. They milk the cow. They do all the cleaning. They take care of this cow day in and day out. But you're paying them. You own a portion of that cow. So if that cow milks 10 gallons that day and 5 people own it, everybody gets 2 gallons. Or basically everybody owns a share of that cow. Some days the cow will produce more milk. Some days the cow will produce less milk. And so your milk, what you're getting may actually fluctuate based on the cow, whereas, that's why it's a share. It's because if the cow changes its production, which you can't do anything about that necessarily. Right. If it changes production, you're understanding on the consumer level, hey, I'm going to get less. But when the production is higher from that cow, you're also getting more. And so it's an understanding between the both parties. It works very well for you.
Nice, nice. Well, based off of this topic, what we're talking about, just not only just knowing a producer, you as a producer of foods, cultivating vegetables, and anything even from your meats, what do you? How important is it for you to have a consumer basis? Like how important is it to you as a farmer, as an independent farmer, to have that connection with the public, for your produce, for your items?
Well, like the biggest thing I get out of it in that sense is that just being able to see, the people that are eating it, but it's because they can express their gratitude. Food is a very universal language. You don't have to be able to speak one another's language to be able to share food together and enjoy it and have that expression through the food. And so coming from that perspective, it's it's just another language. And so just being able to provide a good quality food to anybody, but the people in my local area, ideally, being able to provide food to them is very empowering. It also just gives you a very, it's very humbling to know that you're growing the sustenance for what's providing life for somebody else.
Awesome. That's what's up. Awesome. Not only that, just to kind of wrap this up, the one thing that I wanted to touch base on, that was beautiful, by the way. But we got a chance after we went to Peace Pies. Shout out to Peace Pies in San Diego. We got to stop in and play billiards at a bar and had a couple drinks, had a good time. But then when we left, I got to see a spreadsheet in your back seat based off of these new concepts that I was still getting used to, that I've heard about but I never really understood. These were called food hubs. And if you guys want to talk about this, and this is kind of more on an economic purchase value based off of sustainability within the food system, but kind of give just because you have a little bit more of a connection with a food hub, specifically where you're from, kind of give people the idea of what a food hub is and what can be beneficial for them if they want to join one.
Of course. So in particular right now, I work with the Tahoe Food Hub. I sell food to them and I buy food from them. The Food Hub functions as a nonprofit. They don't have to. Most of them function as a nonprofit. And what they do is in simple terms, they're connecting the farmers with the local market, typically being wholesale buyers, just because most local farmers have an issue getting rid of their food locally. So it's connecting the local buyers, typically wholesale, because quantity, most farmers aren't just a backyard gardener. If you're really farming, you're going to have a large quantity of stuff. And so the food hubs are connecting the farmer with the buyer directly. There's no produce company that's middlemaning this. The produce company or the middleman is the nonprofit, which they're dedicated to this connection. So, it's not coming from as much of a capitalistic point of view, because it's more about the mission statement and that these, two markets are being linked together. And so the food hub consists of the farmers, producers, who basically post what their availability is every week, seasonally. You post what is available from your farm. The nonprofit, the food hub, then makes a list of all that and makes that available to the buyers. So your wholesale buyers get a list from dozens of farms. It could be a handful of farms depending on your food hub in your area. But they send this wholesale buying sheet out to your wholesale buyers, and basically they can order stuff from each and every farm. They can get what they want, and it's all being sourced locally. Most food hubs have a range that they'll source their food from, and so that's kind of part of the mission statement, is that they're sourcing their food within. It's different from food hub to food hub, but usually it's 100 or 150 miles is their radius that they're sourcing the food in. So it's just very important on a local scale, because I can tell you, being a small local farmer, especially at the beginning, but it's hard to find your market in a local sense. I could easily go find a market if I wanted to go wholesale it to the middleman, the big guy middleman, who's going to go sell it to God knows who's going to buy it.
Right.
Or if I want to have, it's not directly to the consumer, but the way this works, I actually have access to the consumer. The consumer has access to me. They know they're buying it from me. It's just the food hub making this link.
And that I think, in my understanding, is the more intimate connection that you have with your food source. And I think with knowing that and having that knowledge, you're not only on the safer route of actually being provided with more bioavailable, more sustainable, and more, I would say, delicious and fresher foods, but you also don't have to worry about putting money into a corporate asset. You're actually putting money towards the farmers that are actually providing the true food for you. So with that being said, I wanted to thank Kevin. I appreciate you coming on and showing the Project Grow some love. Not only that, I want to thank Adam, who's behind the camera today, specifically taking the place from my brother because we are out of town. But also at the same time, everybody at Permaculture Voices too, as well as Gregory, who's behind the camera on the other side. He cooked us up an amazing dinner a couple nights ago. But also at the same time, you guys stay up, hustle and meditate, love one another, and most importantly, love each other. Or love yourself. Jesus. All right, cool. I'll see you guys later.